Hi, I'm Alexis Southall. I'm the owner of Juniper Dance Fitness School, and today I'm going to be taking you through a roughly 25-minute legs, bums and tums workout. Get ready to work your quads, hamstrings, calves, inner thigh, abdominal muscles and glutes. Be sure to take a warm-up before you begin the class and make sure you finish with a good stretch, especially for those legs and glutes, because we're really going to be working them today. If you enjoy this class, please do check out my website www.juniperdancefitness.com. I teach weekly classes online on Zoom and also have a monthly membership where you can access on-demand content for both dance and fitness. Thank you so much, and I hope that you enjoy.
Starting with the feet a little bit wider than hip distance apart, tuck the tailbone underneath you, bend the knees, and send the knees back towards the wall behind you so they're not rolling over the feet. Open the arms, check the transverse abdominis is engaged, and start to pulse. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Arms up, and pulse, 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 pulse. From here, straighten the legs, give them a little shake out, and then coming back down. This time we're going to hinge from the hips flat back, arms open, and pulse, 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 pulse. 5, 6, 7, 8. Take a forward fold. Walk the hands over towards the right leg and then over towards the left leg. Coming back to center and opening the arms. And we're going to go from side to side, right and left. Right, left, right, left, right, left, and back to center. Take that forward fold and roll all the way up. Now we're going to pivot over to one side. Come into a neutral spine and pulse, pulse, and come up into a balance. Send that leg back, and again in that lunge, pulse, pulse, and then coming up into your balance. Pulse, pulse, and up into your balance. Remembering to breathe, remembering to engage the abdominal muscles. Almost there. And hold it here. And then come around to the other side. Into your lunge. And same again. Pulse, pulse, and up into your balance. Pulse, pulse, and up into your balance. 3, 4, 5, 6. Holding it there, and release. Shake out the legs. I'm going to turn to the side, but you can face forwards. Coming into a coupe position, foot at the ankle, check the abdominals are engaged and extend that leg. Make sure that you don't tuck underneath to try and get higher. Staying in a neutral spine. I'm going to pulse the leg up. Keeping that pelvis in the same position. And release it down, sending it back behind you, being careful not to release into the lower back. Keep the abdominals pulling in and the tailbone underneath you, and pulse with the glute. Pulse, 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 and release. On that same leg, we're going to send it out to the side, kick it up. Kick, and kick. Now double pulses. Kick, kick, and release. And kick, kick, and release. Making sure you're still engaging the abdominal muscles. And last one. Shake out the supporting leg, and then coming to the other side. Into coupe, and then extend Check the position of the pelvis and pulse. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Send the leg back behind you, remembering not to release into the lower back. And pulse, 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 pulse. 5, 6, 7, and 8. Same leg kicking out to the side. And 1, 2, 3. Remember that engagement of the core. And then double pulse, 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 release, and pulse, pulse, release. 2 more. Pulse, pulse, release. Last one. Pulse, pulse, release. Feel free to shake out the legs. Now we're going to roll all the way down to the mat, tucking the chin to the chest, bending the knees as much as you need to, finding the floor with the hands and coming onto the hands and knees. We'll start with some cat and cows, so we're going to arch the back like a cat, look towards the belly button, and then release the tailbone looking forwards, engaging the abdominals, tucking the tailbone under, compress, and lengthen as you look forwards. Arch the back like a cat, and look forwards, release the tailbone slightly, and last one, arching the back like a cat, and then looking forwards. Now you're going to walk your hands towards your feet, and sit on the knees, lengthening the spine, engaging the abdominals. We're going to sit the butt back towards the heels and then squeeze the glutes as you come back up. Sit towards the heels and up. Sit towards the heels and squeeze the glutes at the top. Sit back and squeeze. Sit back and squeeze. Just a few more. Sit back and squeeze. Sit back and squeeze. You should be feeling this in your quads and in the glutes, and remember to keep the transverse abdominis engaged, and remember to breathe. And relax, bring the hands down to the floor, come back onto all fours, knees underneath the hips, wrists underneath the shoulders, and send the right leg back behind you. Length through the spine, bend the knee to 90 degrees. It's up to you if you want to point or flex the foot, and we'll pulse for 8, 7, 6, making sure that you're feeling it in the glute. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release it down. Same thing on the left side, lengthening back with that leg, making sure that the hips are level before you bend the knee to 90 degrees and point or flex the foot. Pulse 8, 7, 6, squeezing the glute. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, releasing it down. We're going back to the right leg now, extending it back behind you and lifting. We're going to take it out to the side. Tap out and in. You don't need to go really far. It can just be a little bit. We're trying to keep the upper body centered as we do this. Feeling this in the glute and in the abdominals. Tap out and release. Same thing on the left side, extending, check the hips are level, and tap out to the side and in. Keep engaging the core, keep breathing. Lengthening through the spine. Tap out and in, out and in, and release down. Come back into child's pose, sitting the hips towards the heels. Just rest for a moment. Breathing into the rib cage, and then coming up and onto the elbow. Lift through the side of the body here and send the shoulder down the back. Try not to collapse into your shoulder and into your spine, keeping that nice alignment for our back. Taking some clamshells first, opening the top leg and closing, keeping the hip in one spot. We're not allowing it to roll back or roll front as we open that leg. And you're really feeling this in the glute. Remembering to breathe, still thinking about the transverse, and lengthening that leg. We're going to lift it up and circle. Still thinking about that alignment of your spine Circle is going back, and it's up to you how big that circle goes, but we're keeping the hips stable and not allowing it to roll back and front. Let's change the direction. Remember about your shoulder and your alignment. Not letting those hips move around. And relax. Give the glutes a little hit or a rub if it needs it. And then your top leg is going to go in front as your bottom leg lengthens. You can have that foot in releve and remember about the shoulder and the abdominals, the length of the spine. Lift that bottom leg and release. Exhale as you lift. Inhale as you release. Lift, release, lift, release, lift, release. This is getting your inner thigh. Lift, release. Keep breathing. Lift, release, lift, release. Bend both of those knees now. Check that your shoulder and spine are aligned, and we're lifting the hips up and releasing down. Lift and lower. You should feel this in your abdominals, in your oblique muscles, and it's likely you'll feel it also in the shoulder. Shouldn't be painful. You should feel the work. Lift and lower. Okay, coming all the way up, feel free to roll through that shoulder. It can get a little bit tired. Change the direction of that roll and then reach up and over into mermaid. Take a stretch for the side body. Come back to center, swing the legs around. We're going to do it all again on the other side. Checking that shoulder is aligned, down the back and lifting through the side of the body, not collapsing. Good alignment as we go into clamshells. Open and close. Open and close. The feet stay together. And again, we're not rolling back or front with the hip, keeping everything stable and in good alignment. Abdominals are still working. Glute is engaging. And now we're extending that top leg and lifting as we circle back. Trying to remain stable through the pelvis. Lifting through the side of the body. Breathing. Controlling the range of motion to where you feel comfortable keeping that pelvis stable. Changing direction. If you feel a bit unstable in the pelvis, the hip is rocking around all over the place, make the range of motion smaller. And release, give that glute a hit or a little wiggle if you need it. Take that top leg in front into releve, lengthen the bottom leg. And we're lifting and lower. Exhale as you lift, inhale as you lower. And lift and lower, lift and lower. A few more, lift and lower, thinking about alignment of the ankle. And lift and lower and lift and lower. Bending both of those knees, making sure that the shoulder and the wrist are aligned and the elbow, and lifting the hips and lower. Lift and lower. Lift and release. Lift and release. Lift, release, keep engaging the abdominals. Couple more, lift, release, and lift, release. Coming all the way up, rolling through the shoulder if you feel any discomfort there. And then taking a nice big reach to the side in mermaid, stretching out the side body. Take a moment to just stretch out the neck, releasing any tension that may have gathered there. And then coming to sit with your feet on the floor. Place your hands behind you, fingertips pointing towards your body. Length through the spine, engage the abdominals. Taking the right leg and lengthen it out in front of you. And lift. 2, 3, keep that core engaged. 5, 6, 7, 8. Release. Bring it back in towards you, and same on the left. Extend and lift. For 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release it down and drag that foot back in towards you. Lengthen the right leg, lift it up and tap it out to the side and in. Out to the side and in. Trying to remain stable through the pelvis. Transverse abdominals are still engaged. Remember to breathe. A few more. Tap out and in. And same again on the left. Lift it up and out and in. Tap out, tap in. Breathing. You can exhale on each outward movement. Inhale on each inward movement. Keep that core engaged and release. Feel free to release the quads, give them a shake, give them a little hit if you need to. And then bring the feet back towards you. Roll the shoulders back and come into a C curve, tucking the hips towards your ribs. Option 1 is to hover your feet from the floor. Option 2 is to lift into a mid position. Option 3 is going to be releasing those legs. And we're breathing for a few breaths here. Keep thinking about your abdominals. Relax the neck and the shoulders and release. Open the knees out to the side, feet together. Take a little stretch. Return your feet to the floor. Coming back into your C curve. Interlace the fingers in front, roll the shoulders down the back and canoe right and left. Imagine that you're rowing in a kayak or a canoe. Just getting more into the obliques. We're keeping the knees, the pelvis, the feet in one position. Right and left, right and left. Back to center, come all the way up, take a breath, feel that rib cage expanding in the back. Scooting forwards if you need to, and then we're rolling all the way down. Tucking the hips to the ribs first, one vertebra at a time. Once you reach the floor, you're going to take a full body stretch, lengthening the legs, lengthening the arms overhead. And then bringing your feet to the floor and your arms by your sides. And finding a neutral position for the pelvis. Tuck all the way and release all the way. And then find the midway position between those two. Open the collarbones. Make sure there's a fist distance between your chin and your chest. We're going to lift the right leg up to tabletop position directly over the hip. Keep those collarbones open and the neck relaxed as you tap the right foot down to the floor and lift it up. Make sure you're moving from the hip and not from the knee, otherwise you won't feel the full benefit. If it feels too difficult or the lower back's coming away from the floor, don't go all the way down with that foot. If it's too easy, you can lift the left leg to make it a little bit more challenging. Tap down and lift. Exhale as you tap down and lift. Exhale, tap down and lift. Let's release both legs to the floor. Take a moment to have a nice deep breath. Wiggle your hips if you need to. And then moving on to the left leg, lifting it up, moving from the hip to tap the foot down as you exhale and back to center as you inhale. Tap down and lift. Tap down and lift. Tap down and lift. Continue with this if you like, or if it was too easy, lift the right leg up. Tap down and lift, moving from the hip, not from the knee. Last one. Tap down and lift and release both legs to the floor. Again, feel free to take a full body stretch here, stretching out the abdominals. And then bringing the feet back to the floor. And hands underneath the head, cradling the neck. Lifting the elbows slightly from the floor, inhale Exhale, lift the head and shoulders, look towards your knees and release. Inhale. Exhale, engage the upper abdominals, look towards the knees and release. You're going to make sure not to bring the elbows towards one another here, keeping them open. And then looking out for your abdominals, making sure they're not pushing out like this. You want them to stay engaged and hugging in towards center as you lift the head and shoulders. And lift, exhale, lower, inhale. And lift. And lower. And lift. Hold it here. And pulse. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release it down. Take a breath. On your next exhale, lifting the elbows before you lift the head and shoulders up. And we're going to twist to the right and twist to the left, similar to what we were doing when we were seated. Keeping the elbows open and keeping the abdominals engaged, not pushing out with the abs. Not crunching on that neck. Right and left, right and left, right, left, and release. Hold at center and all the way down, bringing arms by your sides. If you need to, you can release that neck, take it side to side, let go of any tension that might have accumulated. And then we're moving into shoulder bridge. Bring the feet a little bit closer before lifting the hips, peeling the spine away from the floor. Keep the collarbones open and make sure the weight is in the shoulders and not in the neck. Rolling all the way down, upper back, mid back, and low back comes down last. Inhale, exhale, roll all the way up through the spine, and release down. Inhale, exhale, tuck the hips to the ribs, roll up, squeeze the glutes, and roll all the way down. Now rolling all the way up, and we're going to drop the right hip towards the floor and lift, and same on the left, and lift, as if you're twisting your hips, and left, right and left, and right and left, going a little faster than before, keeping the core engaged, making sure the inner thighs are working, the glutes are working. Right, left, and back to center. Roll all the way down and hug the knees towards your chest. Give yourself a squeeze. This is an important counter stretch for shoulder bridge, as it is technically a back bend. Release your feet to the floor. Make sure you stretch out your muscles after this workout. And thank you so much